You think you're just grabbing a morning coffee, but what if I told you that some of the most popular drinks from major coffee chains are loaded with more sugar than soda, contaminated with mold, and packed with chemicals that would make a scientist nervous? We're not talking about the occasional treat. We're talking about drinks that millions of people consume daily, thinking they're harmless. Here's what's shocking. Some of these coffee drinks contain over 70 grams of sugar. That's more than 2 cans of Coke. Others are made in machines that haven't been properly cleaned in weeks, breeding dangerous bacteria and mold. And the worst part? The companies know it and don't care. The coffee industry has become a sugar-pushing, chemical-laden nightmare that's more concerned with addiction than your health. They've turned simple coffee into dessert drinks that spike your blood sugar, crash your energy, and keep you coming back for more. I've spent months investigating what's really in these popular coffee drinks, and what I discovered will make you never look at your morning routine the same way. We're talking about drinks with enough sugar to trigger diabetes, mold contamination that can cause serious illness, and artificial ingredients that have no business being in food. The number one drink on this list contains enough sugar to put you in a diabetic coma if you're pre-diabetic. And number 3, it's made in machines so contaminated with mold that former employees refuse to drink from them. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to expose the 8 most dangerous coffee drinks from major chains, reveal exactly what's wrong with each one, and show you why your daily coffee habit might be destroying your health. By the end of this video, you'll know which drinks to avoid and why these companies can't be trusted with your well-being. Before we dive into the worst offenders, let me expose what's really happening in the coffee industry. These chains have transformed coffee from a simple, healthy beverage into sugar-loaded chemical cocktails that create addiction and health problems. The average specialty coffee drink contains less than 20% actual coffee. The rest is sugar, artificial flavors, preservatives, and chemicals designed to trigger pleasure responses in your brain. You're not drinking coffee, you're drinking a drug cocktail with coffee flavoring. Here's the business model. Hook customers with sugar and caffeine, create physical dependency, then charge premium prices for cheap ingredients. A $6 latte costs them about 60 cents to make, and most of that cost is the cup and labor, not the ingredients. But the real problem is what they're hiding from you. Those nutrition facts on the menu, they're often for the smallest size with modifications nobody orders. The sugar-free options contain artificial sweeteners linked to cancer and neurological problems. The seasonal drinks are the worst offenders. Pumpkin spice lattes, peppermint mochas, caramel macchiatos. These aren't coffee drinks. They're liquid desserts with enough sugar to spike your blood glucose to dangerous levels. And the cleanliness standards? They're a joke. Machines that should be cleaned daily go weeks without proper sanitization. Milk systems that should be flushed regularly become breeding grounds for bacteria. Ice machines that should be maintained monthly grow mold and slime. The companies spend millions on marketing to create emotional connections to their brands, but they spend almost nothing on ingredient quality or food safety. They want you to feel good about buying their products while they slowly poison you with sugar, chemicals, and contaminated equipment. Let's start with number 8, the Starbucks Frappuccino. This isn't coffee, it's a sugar delivery system disguised as a beverage, and it's creating a generation of diabetics. A venti caramel frappuccino contains 76 grams of sugar. To put that in perspective, that's more sugar than 2 cans of Coca-Cola. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day for women and 36 grams for men. One drink gives you triple the daily limit. But here's what makes it even worse. It's not just regular sugar. Starbucks uses high fructose corn syrup, which bypasses your body's natural satiety signals and goes straight to your liver, where it's converted to fat. This is why people who drink frappuccinos regularly often develop fatty liver disease. The sugar content creates massive insulin spikes that, over time, lead to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Your pancreas has to work overtime to process all that sugar, and eventually it just gives up. That daily frappuccino habit is literally giving you diabetes. But the health effects go beyond just diabetes. The sugar crashes that follow these drinks leave you more tired than before, creating a cycle of dependency. You need another sugary drink to feel normal, which leads to more sugar crashes, and the cycle continues. The whipped cream adds another 10 grams of sugar plus artificial stabilizers and preservatives. The caramel drizzle is pure corn syrup with artificial flavoring. Even the base contains added sugars beyond what's naturally in milk. And here's something most people don't realize. The coffee in a frappuccino is mostly coffee flavoring, not actual brewed coffee. You're getting all the sugar and calories with minimal caffeine benefits. It's dessert pretending to be coffee. The marketing targets teenagers and young adults, creating sugar addiction early in life. Starbucks knows that customers who start drinking frappuccinos in high school often become lifelong customers, even as their health deteriorates from the constant sugar intake. Number 7 is Dunkin's Frozen Coffee, and this drink proves that you can take mediocre coffee and make it exponentially worse by replacing every natural ingredient with artificial substitutes. The coffee in Dunkin's Frozen Coffee isn't brewed coffee, it's coffee-flavored syrup made with artificial coffee extract. The vanilla flavoring is artificial vanillin, often derived from wood pulp or petroleum byproducts. Even the cream is artificial, made with sodium caseinate and other chemically modified milk proteins. But here's what's really concerning. Dunkin uses artificial colors to make their drinks look appealing. These petroleum-based dyes have been linked to hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and behavioral problems. Many of these colors are banned in Europe, but perfectly legal in the United States. The artificial vanilla flavoring contains vanillin that's manufactured from wood pulp, the same byproduct used in paper manufacturing. You're literally drinking industrial waste that's been flavored to taste like vanilla. This chemical can cause headaches, nausea, and allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Dunkin also uses artificial preservatives like potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate to extend shelf life. These chemicals can cause skin irritation, digestive problems, and respiratory issues. They're particularly dangerous for people with asthma or other breathing problems. The texture comes from artificial thickeners and stabilizers that have no nutritional value and can cause digestive inflammation. These industrial chemicals are designed to make cheap ingredients feel creamy and satisfying, but they're hard on your digestive system. And here's the kicker, because everything is artificial, the flavor is inconsistent and often overwhelming. The artificial vanilla is so strong it masks any actual coffee flavor, and the artificial sweeteners leave a chemical aftertaste that lingers for hours. The marketing emphasizes convenience and affordability, but you're paying for artificial ingredients that cost pennies to produce. You could make better coffee at home with real ingredients for a fraction of the cost. Number 6 is McDonald's McCafé Frappe, and this drink contains so many industrial chemicals that it reads more like a cleaning product ingredient list than a beverage menu item. McDonald's uses propylene glycol in their Frappe mix, the same chemical found in antifreeze and airplane de-icer. While it's considered generally recognized as safe by the FDA, you're consuming a chemical that's used to prevent ice formation in industrial applications. The drink also contains sodium stearoyl lactylate, an emulsifier that's used in bread manufacturing and cosmetics. This chemical can cause digestive problems and has been linked to calcium deficiency. It's designed to make cheap ingredients blend together, not to provide nutrition. But here's what's really disturbing. McDonald's uses carrageenan as a thickener, despite growing evidence that this seaweed extract causes intestinal inflammation and immune system problems. Studies have linked carrageenan to digestive disorders, inflammation, and even cancer in laboratory animals. The whipped topping isn't whipped cream. It's a chemical foam made with hydrogenated oils, artificial flavors, and stabilizers. These trans fats have been banned in many countries due to their link to heart disease, but McDonald's continues using them because they're cheap and shelf-stable. McDonald's also uses polysorbate 80, an emulsifier that's been shown to disrupt gut bacteria and increase inflammation throughout the body. This chemical is also used in cosmetics and pharmaceuticals, but McDonald's puts it in drinks that people consume daily. The caramel flavoring contains diacetyl, a chemical that's been linked to serious lung problems in factory workers. While the levels in food are lower, regular consumption can still cause respiratory inflammation and breathing problems. And let's not forget about the machines. McDonald's Frappe machines are notoriously difficult to clean properly, and the complex chemical mixture creates perfect conditions for bacteria growth. You're not just getting chemicals, you're potentially getting contaminated chemicals. Number 5 is Tim Hortons Iced Capp, and this Canadian classic has become notorious for mold contamination that's making customers sick across North America. The Iced Capp machines at Tim Hortons are breeding grounds for mold and bacteria. The thick, sugary mixture combined with inconsistent cleaning creates perfect conditions for dangerous microorganisms to thrive. Former employees have reported machines with visible black mold growing in the dispensing tubes and mixing chambers. But it's not just the machines. The base mix itself is problematic. Tim Hortons uses a powder concentrate that sits in storage for weeks or months before being used. This powder can develop mold during storage, especially in humid conditions, and that mold gets mixed right into your drink. The cleaning protocols at many Tim Hortons locations are inadequate for the complex machinery used to make iced caps. The machines should be completely disassembled and sanitized daily, but many locations only do surface cleaning. The internal components where mold grows are rarely properly cleaned. Customers have reported finding black specks in their iced caps, which testing has confirmed to be mold spores. Others have gotten sick with respiratory problems, digestive issues, and allergic reactions after drinking contaminated beverages. The mold problem is particularly dangerous for people with compromised immune systems, respiratory conditions, or mold allergies. Inhaling or ingesting mold spores can cause serious health problems, including lung infections, allergic reactions, and toxic responses. Tim Hortons' response to mold complaints has been inadequate. Instead of addressing the root cause, inadequate cleaning and poor storage conditions, they typically blame individual locations or deny that there's a systemic problem. The franchise model makes the problem worse because individual locations are responsible for maintenance and cleaning, but corporate doesn't provide adequate training or oversight. Many franchisees cut corners on cleaning to save money, putting customers at risk. And here's the most disturbing part. The mold contamination isn't limited to iced caps. The same cleaning problems affect other beverages made with similar equipment, meaning the contamination can spread throughout the drink menu. Number 4 is Peet's Coffee Javiva, and this drink represents the worst kind of deception in the food industry. Artificial ingredients disguised as natural flavors. Peet's markets their Javiva line as containing natural flavors, but what they don't tell you is that these natural flavors are often more processed and artificial than synthetic alternatives. The vanilla flavoring, for example, can come from castoreum, a secretion from beaver anal glands. While technically natural, most people would be horrified to know they're drinking beaver secretions. The natural coffee flavor is extracted using chemical solvents and processing methods that strip away any resemblance to actual coffee. You're getting a chemically extracted essence that's been so heavily processed it's essentially artificial, but they can legally call it natural. But here's what's really concerning. Peet's uses natural caramel coloring that contains 4-methylimidazole, a chemical byproduct that's been linked to cancer in animal studies. California requires warning labels for this chemical, but Peet's continues using it while hiding behind the natural label. The drink also contains natural vanilla flavor that's often derived from wood pulp through chemical processing. The end result is vanillin that's chemically identical to synthetic versions, but can be labeled as natural because it started with a natural source. Peet's uses this labeling loophole to charge premium prices for drinks that contain the same artificial tasting ingredients as cheaper competitors. You're paying extra for the word natural on ingredients that have been processed beyond recognition. The natural preservatives are often more harmful than synthetic alternatives. Peet's uses natural sodium benzoate, which can react with vitamin C to form benzene, a known carcinogen. The natural version is no safer than the synthetic version, but it sounds better on the label. And here's the kicker. The actual coffee content in Javiva drinks is minimal. Most of the flavor comes from these heavily processed natural extracts, not from actual brewed coffee. You're paying premium prices for fake natural flavors with a coffee label. Number 3 is 7-Eleven coffee, and their self-serve coffee stations are some of the most contaminated beverage dispensers in the food service industry. The coffee machines at 7-Eleven are rarely cleaned properly, creating perfect breeding grounds for bacteria, mold, and other dangerous microorganisms. The warm, moist environment inside coffee machines, combined with sugar residue and milk proteins, creates ideal conditions for contamination. Former 7-Eleven employees have reported machines that hadn't been properly cleaned in weeks or even months. The internal components where coffee sits and flows become coated with bacterial biofilms that are nearly impossible to remove without complete disassembly and professional cleaning. But here's what's really disgusting. The coffee pots and dispensing mechanisms often have visible mold, bacterial slime, and mineral deposits that customers can see if they look closely. The company's response is usually to wipe down the visible surfaces rather than address the internal contamination. The self-serve model makes contamination worse because customers touch the dispensing handles, spill coffee and cream, and introduce contaminants from their hands and cups. These contaminants then multiply in the warm, moist environment of the coffee station. Water quality is another major issue. Many 7-Eleven locations don't properly maintain their water filtration systems, leading to coffee made with contaminated water. This can introduce heavy metals, bacteria, and chemical contaminants directly into the coffee. The cream and sugar dispensers are even worse. The dairy products sit at room temperature for hours, creating perfect conditions for bacterial growth. The sugar dispensers often have sticky residue that attracts insects and provides food for bacteria. And let's talk about the coffee itself. It's often made from the cheapest beans available, stored improperly, and brewed in contaminated equipment. The result is coffee that's not just bad tasting, but potentially dangerous to consume. The convenience store model prioritizes speed and low cost over food safety. Employees are often undertrained in proper food handling and cleaning procedures, and there's minimal oversight to ensure safety standards are maintained. Number 2 is Panera Bread's frozen coffee drinks, and this is particularly disappointing because Panera markets itself as a healthy, clean eating option while serving drinks that are anything but healthy. Panera's frozen caramel cold brew contains 65 grams of sugar, but they market it as a craft beverage made with clean ingredients. This is pure marketing deception. There's nothing clean about a drink with more sugar than a large soda. The company has built its brand on clean eating and transparency, but their frozen coffee drinks contain many of the same artificial ingredients and preservatives found at fast food chains. They're just better at marketing them as healthy alternatives. Panera uses the term clean to describe ingredients that are anything but clean. Their caramel flavoring contains high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and preservatives, but they market it as made with real caramel to mislead health-conscious customers. The cold brew base isn't even real cold brew coffee. It's coffee concentrate mixed with water and artificial coffee flavoring. Real cold brew requires 12 to 24 hours of steeping, but Panera's version is made instantly with concentrates and flavor enhancers. But here's what's really deceptive. Panera removed artificial colors and flavors from some menu items and then marketed their entire brand as clean, even though many items still contain problematic ingredients. Their frozen drinks are loaded with the same artificial ingredients they claim to have eliminated. The health halo effect is particularly dangerous with Panera because customers assume everything is healthy. Parents buy these sugar-loaded drinks for their children thinking they're making a better choice than McDonald's, when in reality they're getting the same amount of sugar and artificial ingredients. Panera also uses carrageenan in their frozen drinks, despite their clean ingredient promises. This seaweed extract causes digestive inflammation and has been linked to immune system problems, but Panera continues using it while marketing their drinks as healthy. The portion sizes are misleading too. What Panera calls a regular size contains more sugar than most people should consume in an entire day, but it's presented as a normal beverage serving rather than the dessert it actually is. And here's the most frustrating part. Panera charges premium prices for these drinks because of their healthy brand image. You're paying extra for the same sugar and artificial ingredients you'd get at a fast food chain, just with better marketing. And now for number 1, Dutch Bros Coffee. This West Coast chain has created drinks with such dangerous levels of caffeine that they should come with medical warnings, and they're marketing them to teenagers and young adults. Dutch Bros Large Kicker contains over 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's more than 4 cups of regular coffee or 5 cans of Red Bull. For comparison, the FDA considers 400 milligrams the maximum safe daily intake for healthy adults, and Dutch Bros puts that entire amount in a single drink. But here's what makes it even more dangerous. They combine this extreme caffeine with massive amounts of sugar, creating a stimulant cocktail that can cause heart palpitations, anxiety attacks, and dangerous blood pressure spikes. The combination of high caffeine and high sugar is particularly risky for people with heart conditions. The target demographic makes this especially concerning. Dutch Bros markets heavily to teenagers and college students, who often have lower caffeine tolerance and are more susceptible to caffeine overdose. These drinks can cause serious health problems in young people whose cardiovascular systems aren't fully developed. Dutch Bros also offers extra shots that can push caffeine levels over 600 milligrams in a single drink. This is enough caffeine to cause caffeine poisoning, which can include symptoms like rapid heartbeat, nausea, vomiting, and in severe cases, seizures or cardiac arrest. The company's marketing emphasizes energy and performance, encouraging customers to drink these high caffeine beverages daily. But regular consumption of extreme caffeine levels can lead to tolerance, dependency, and withdrawal symptoms that interfere with normal functioning. And here's what's really irresponsible. Dutch Bros doesn't clearly label the caffeine content on their menu boards. Customers often don't realize they're consuming dangerous amounts of caffeine until they experience adverse effects like jitters, anxiety, or heart palpitations. The combination of extreme caffeine with artificial flavors and preservatives creates additional health risks. The artificial ingredients can amplify the effects of caffeine, making the drinks even more dangerous than the caffeine content alone would suggest. Emergency room doctors in areas with Dutch Bros locations report increased cases of caffeine overdose, particularly among young people. These cases often involve Dutch Bros drinks, highlighting the real-world health consequences of their extreme caffeine levels. Now let me explain what these dangerous coffee drinks are actually doing to your body, because the effects go far beyond just temporary energy boosts and sugar crashes. The extreme sugar content in these drinks is creating an epidemic of type 2 diabetes. When you consume 60 to 80 grams of sugar in a single drink, your pancreas has to release massive amounts of insulin to process it. Over time, your cells become resistant to insulin, leading to diabetes. The mold contamination in poorly maintained machines can cause serious respiratory problems, especially for people with asthma or compromised immune systems. Inhaling mold spores can trigger allergic reactions, lung infections, and toxic responses that can be life-threatening. The artificial ingredients are disrupting your gut microbiome, which affects everything from your immune system to your mental health. The preservatives and emulsifiers kill beneficial bacteria while allowing harmful bacteria to flourish, leading to digestive problems and increased inflammation. The extreme caffeine levels are causing anxiety disorders, sleep problems, and cardiovascular issues. Regular consumption of high caffeine drinks can lead to chronic anxiety, insomnia, and increased risk of heart arrhythmias and high blood pressure. The chemical cocktails in these drinks are overloading your liver's detoxification systems. Your liver has to work overtime to process all the artificial ingredients, preservatives, and excess sugar, leading to fatty liver disease and reduced liver function. But perhaps most concerning is the addiction cycle these drinks create. The combination of sugar, caffeine, and artificial flavors triggers dopamine release in your brain, creating physical dependency that's difficult to break. You're not just drinking coffee, you're feeding an addiction. The long-term consequences include increased risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, and neurological problems. These aren't just beverages, they're health hazards disguised as coffee drinks. So what should you drink instead? The good news is that real coffee is actually healthy when it's not loaded with sugar and chemicals. Black coffee made from quality beans is loaded with antioxidants and has been linked to reduced risk of diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. The problem isn't coffee. It's all the garbage that chains add to it. If you need sweetness, use small amounts of natural sweeteners like raw honey or pure maple syrup. These provide sweetness without the blood sugar spikes caused by high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners. For milk, choose real dairy from grass-fed cows, or if you avoid dairy, use unsweetened plant milks without carrageenan or artificial ingredients. Read labels carefully. Many plant milks contain the same problematic ingredients as coffee chain drinks. Make cold brew at home using quality coffee beans and filtered water. It's cheaper, healthier, and tastes better than anything you can buy at a chain. You control every ingredient that goes into your body. If you must buy coffee out, choose local roasters that focus on quality ingredients and proper equipment maintenance. Ask about their cleaning procedures and ingredient sourcing. Good coffee shops will be happy to discuss their practices. The key is simplicity. The fewer ingredients in your coffee drink, the better. If you can't pronounce the ingredients, or if there are more than 5 of them, find something else to drink. Look, I've just exposed the 8 most dangerous coffee drinks from major chains, and the evidence is clear. These aren't just unhealthy, they're actively harmful beverages that are creating addiction while destroying your health. But knowledge without action is worthless. Stop buying these toxic drinks and start making better choices. Your body will thank you, your energy levels will stabilize, and you'll save money while protecting your health. If this video opened your eyes to what's really in your daily coffee, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button right now. It tells YouTube that this information matters and helps more people discover the truth about what they're drinking every day. And drop a comment below telling me which coffee chain shocked you the most. Have you experienced mold in your Tim Hortons drink? Did you know Dutch Bros was putting 400 milligrams of caffeine in a single cup? I read every comment, and your experiences help other viewers make better choices. Share this video with someone who needs to see this. Your friends, your family, that coworker who drinks 3 Frappuccinos a day, your kids who think Dutch Bros is harmless. They deserve to know what they're really consuming, and you might literally save their health. If you want more exposés about the food and beverage industry, the health risks they hide, the contamination they ignore, and the addiction they create, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'm not done exposing the companies that are poisoning us for profit. Remember, every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of products you want to see in the world. Stop voting for companies that prioritize profits over your health. Choose real coffee, real ingredients, and real nutrition. The question is, are you going to keep poisoning yourself with these dangerous coffee drinks, or are you going to start treating your body with the respect it deserves? Hit like if you're ready to make that change. Subscribe for more truth, and comment with your coffee horror stories. Your health depends on the choices you make today.